Welcome, teacher, to the Let Your Light Shine podcast. If you're searching for the freedom and permission to design the life you love as a teacher, you're in the right place. I'm on a mission to help teachers just like you build their own dream school or homeschooling business. In this present day, the world needs you, teacher friend, to step out in faith and give students an education they love and so deserve. In this podcast, I will teach you how to start a fulfilling and profitable homeschooling business that lights you up. I'm Makenzie Oliver, former elementary teacher and instructional coach, gone homeschool teacher and business builder. I'm here to empower you to step outside the classroom and choose the experiences, the curriculum, and all the moments that put a smile on your face and your students. Does it seem like a dream? Well, it did to me, until God opened the doors and made it reality. Together, we are breaking through fears and moving the crowd. So get out your notebook, sharpen your pencil. It's time to get your teach on. Welcome to another episode, and this episode is super special. I am going to give away something that brought me to the place that I am today, other than God, of course. But in 2019, I read a book just with a friend for fun. She texted me and said, "Hey, do you want to read this book with me?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so we started chatting, and lo and behold, after reading this book, I was able to step away from my career of teaching to then, later on, unbeknownst to me, start my own school. So in 2019, my friend had texted me and she said, "Hey, there's this author that I absolutely love. She's so fun. Her name is Annie F. Downs, and she has this book, 100 Days to Brave. Would you want to read it with me?" And I said, "Yeah." So we got the book. If you've heard my story, I was really wrestling with my position of leaving instructional coach. I loved my job. I loved the people, but I felt like God was calling me to just a different place in my life. And my daughter was starting middle school. I read the book. I had a friend. I had an accountability partner with me. It really made a difference in my life. We went through 100 days. On the 100th day, we went to our daughter's softball game, and we cued confetti and posted it on social media. It was really fun because it was allowing me and my friend to really just take a deep look into our life and see what we were being fearful about, seeing what we needed to let go of, seeing what we needed to grab onto. And truth be told, I was never thinking of leaving my position during that time of reading the book. But during that year of 2019, I started in January, and in March, I was able to give my resignation. And when I stood there in front of my principal, who I absolutely loved, he said, "What is it, that's really pulling you away? And is there anything that we can do?" And I said, "No, I'm so grateful for my time here. I love it. And it's just, the calling is so much bigger than what God is calling me to do. And I just can't describe it right now." And I really attest this time of my life in conjunction with prayer, in conjunction with really looking at my purpose and my passion and my identity, I was able to leave my position. Now, I'm not saying that thereafter was a walk in the park, because if you've heard my story before, I left teaching. My husband started a painting business at the same time. I was going to help him. I was going to figure out where God was calling me. Then that was in the fall of 2019. I didn't go back to school. 2020, the pandemic happened, and then I started the school. This was all God's perfect timing, God's perfect plan. And so I'm giving away 5 Annie F. Down 100 Days to Brave to 5 people who leave a review for the Apple podcast. And this is not what I was thinking of doing, giving away the book. I'm glad that God gave me the idea. The whole premise of this episode was to talk to you about looking at the month of December in 2022 and really strengthening ourselves on determining and making the decision that we are going to be brave as we head into 2023. I felt so just compelled as I was on a walk And I mentioned this in the previous episode as well. I was on a walk. I met this man. And prior to me meeting this man on my walk, go back to the last episode when we talk about financial security. But I met this man and I said, we were talking about him retiring and starting a career. Well, actually, it's not a career. It was just what he did after retirement, and he spent his time investing. And he was talking about taking risk, and he was talking about how hard it is for people, if they've never been entrepreneurs, to take risk. And I was sharing with him that prior to me coming face to face with him on my walk, I had declared that the moment that I get back to my computer, I'm going to record a podcast episode about being brave and how we are going to have to commit ourselves to being brave, because research has shown that no matter how much passion you have, no matter how much talent you have, no matter the creative ideas, those are all important. No matter the vision, no matter the business plan, no matter the amount of money you have, those all play a factor in our life. Don't get me wrong. The deep stuff, the deep heart work that you do to build your business, that matters. But you will not be able to do anything with the talent, with the money, with the vision, with the dream, with the passion, unless you are brave enough to step out and put yourself into action mode. And he said, and I said, I'm going to go back. I'm a podcaster. I help women, teachers. I help them become entrepreneurs, specifically in the business world of creating a school. And so we got to talking about that. And he said, majority of business people, he said, if you have done any research, he said, I spend about 5 to 6 hours a day reading. And he said, if you look at people who have IQs of 100, the research has been done that people who have IQs of 100, they have what it takes to build a business. That's majority of people have about an IQ of 100 and they're out building businesses. He said, now look at someone who, that's just a baseline average IQ, 100. He said, go and see what these people have built. They have built businesses. Now, why is it that there's so many people that have a higher IQ and yet they have talked themselves into a corner, not stepping out and doing the risk and building the business? And we got to talking, and don't quote me, I don't know if those are, I did not read that myself. He seemed like a very intellectual person. Granted, I just met him on a walk, but he did retire at age 45 and he's almost 70. He loves what he does and he's never worked a day in his life, and he just continues to build residual income. And he's bought multiple real estate investments and multiple businesses. And he said, I just made a decision that I was never going to work for anyone. He said, because the wealthiest people are the people who create their own jobs. And he said, how many people, look at those people that have built a business with a 100 IQ. And if they can do it, how come there are so many people that are so afraid to do it? Because they think that they're not smart enough. They think that they're not strong enough. They think that they don't have enough talent. And I said, so what you're saying to me is that it takes bravery over brains. And he said, yeah. He goes, actually, you need both. And I said, I agree with that. Bravery and brains. And I know you guys got the brains, but I know that we're all working on the bravery part. So in the month of December, I am encouraging you. What is it that you can look at in December? In this last month of the year, and no matter whenever you're listening to this podcast episode, if you could look at the next 30 days, pull up your calendar. If you have nothing on your calendar of any goals that you're working on, that's your number one step, is to get brave enough to get some goals for yourself. I remember that I used to be so afraid to even make a goal for myself because I was afraid I was going to fail. I could go back years of just writing in my journal and having these dreams of starting my school. I had no goal for it. I had really no, and I'm a passionate person. I played multiple sports in high school. I never had a moment where I wasn't playing a sport. I'm pretty good at keeping myself busy, but I can honestly say that when people would sit me down and be like, what are your goals? I'm like, oh my God, I can't even commit to it. What if I don't make it? What if I fail? What if it's not the right goal? What if it's not the goal that God called me to? And I just worked myself out of so much potential. And the truth is that if you don't have a goal, that's your very first step in becoming brave. Make a goal for yourself. And it's very difficult to be brave when you don't have goals because there's nothing that is compelling you or pushing you forward. So look at yourself in the next 30 days. Pull up your calendar. If there's nothing on your calendar, if there's no goals for anything, if there's nothing that's on there that scares you, that's your very first step. Get a goal and start you looking at your time and what you have planned for your life to, whether it's fix up your finances, whether it's to have a tough conversation, whether it is to ask somebody for help, whether it is to make the very first investment, whether it is to say no to what's not working and yes to something that you don't even know if it's going to work or not, do it. And the guy said, I just have found that anybody who wants to start their own business, they're going to have to be risk takers. And I said, I'm telling you, it's just crazy that I met you on this walk. I'm running home to make a podcast episode about becoming brave. And he's like, yeah. I said, I understand. It's hard for people. He said, but I'm so glad that I did this earlier than later. He said, because if I would have done it later, he said, I would have come up with all of these excuses. And so my thing to you is this. Focus over the last month of this year on being brave. What do you need to do to show yourself that every little step of building that bravery muscle is going to make you stronger? I'm giving away 5 100 Days to Brave by Annie F. Downs. I will be drawing the names of 5 people who leave a review on Apple Podcast for Teacher Let Your Light Shine. Please go to Apple Podcast. Leave a 5-star rating if this has touched you, compelled you, strengthened you, any way that you possibly can to show how this podcast is making a difference to you. You have 2 weeks. I'm going to take all the names, put them in a basket, and draw 5 people who are going to win the 100 Days to Brave Annie F. Downs, and we can even read it together in the new year. So head on over. All you got to do, it takes less than 30 seconds. You just go into Apple Podcast. You can leave a rating, a review, and then make sure that you either put your name in the review or you at least send me a screenshot in an instant message or in our Facebook group, or send me an email at teacherletyourlightshine@gmail.com, where however you can get it. But if you leave your name, you could say, hi, my name is Susie Walker and I am in love with this podcast. It has helped me immensely in becoming brave, or whatever you want to say about it. Or, hi, I'm Jan Doe and I really enjoy this podcast because now I think that I know what it means to become a teacher entrepreneur. 5 people are going to get the book. We can read it together and walk this journey of being brave in the new year. You have until December 9th. So make sure by December 9th, you've got 2 weeks. Do it now. Get it in. Get it over with. I'm going to give you a shout out. I'm super excited to read your review. It does take a couple days sometimes for Apple Podcasts to pop that review up. I read every single one of them. I'm grateful for them. And then I will announce the winner on December 12th, who has won the book, and I will send them to you with a card and get ready to read it for you in the new year. So again, head on over to Apple Podcast, and iTunes actually is where it's going to be. Leave a review, and then make sure you put your name in it, or let me know that it was you, and I will draw your name, and we will announce the winner on, December the 12th, on Monday. I can't wait to hear from you, and I cannot wait to see what you are going to be doing in the new year when it comes to being brave. Hey, teacher friend. Thanks so much for listening to today's show. I pray it inspired you, touched you, or challenged you in some way, because we are making big shifts and using our teaching gifts for God's glory like never before. I'm so grateful for you. The number one way you can support this show is to leave a written review on Apple Podcasts, and also share this with another teacher. Come join me in the Virtual Teachers Lounge, known as the Teacher Let Your Light Shine Facebook group. Until next time, keep shining your teacher light. The world needs you.